The best of the morning to you. This is Monday with Friday, preparing you for a better week ahead. I've made the case that because of who the original listeners were, that which we call the Lord's Prayer should be claimed universally and applied to life by anyone. It offers patterns for prayer and life that anyone of any religion or no religion might consider. Our Father in heaven means we all are siblings of a divine parent. Holy is your name means we should pray and live like students, studying and practicing God's holiness. Thy kingdom come bids us live like soldiers, gaining, guarding, and growing God's rule over our own lives with justice and righteousness. Today's phrase is, "Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." Perhaps because humans have enslaved other humans from time immemorial, and because some employers have shafted, cheated, abused, or otherwise diminished employees ever since time began, service and servanthood are viewed by some as obscene words. In Christian theology, service is the character of God. Jesus lived a life of service, constantly addressing human need. He urged his followers to consider themselves servants, not bosses. Service reminds us that life is lived not for self, but for others. Whether it's the assassination of the Haitian president, or the abduction of boys and girls in a Baptist school in Nigeria, or the poisoning of political opponents by somebody in Russia, or the theft of black enfranchisement in America, or a police officer denying a motorist common courtesy. Every unjust scenario reflects the abandonment of service wherever it might be found, quickly becoming self-indulgence that leads to tyranny, despotism, or abuse. Service reminds us that life is not all about you, your rights, and your wants. Therefore, "Thy will be done" calls on us to pray and live like servants. Now, here are 3 ideas about servants embedded in the prayer index, "Thy will be done." First, servants commit to agendas other than their own. Servants are enlisted to serve others. Service becomes excellent and even divine, enabling us to do godly work on earth when we view those we serve as made fully in God's image and likeness. When serving others, matters neither begin nor end with us. They're never about us. They're all about those we serve. Their agenda become ours in the matters in which we serve them. So, if we pray to God, "Your will be done," we are affirming that God doesn't work for us. Instead, we work for God. And God's agenda of justice for all, harmony between all, and peace among all becomes our agenda. Servants commit to agendas other than their own. Second, servants complete other people's agenda as if it were their own. The lesson on prayer is not "Thy will be understood," it's "Thy will be done." It's not "Thy will be attempted and abandoned," it's "Thy will be done." The implication is that as faulty as we humans are, it's within our capacity to complete godly pursuits if, as the sequence of these lessons on prayer indicate, we first behave like siblings of a divine parent, then as students of God's holiness, and then as soldiers protecting God's rule within our beings. Servants complete other people's agenda as if it were their own. And third, servants contend with dual agendas because both are their own. Of course, servants, though their agendas are those of the folks they serve, they never lose their own personhood, individuality, or selves. As unique beings differentiated from those we serve, of course, we have our own personal agendas. But good servants never allow the two to clash. So sometimes I would rather not, in the course of my work, deal with cantankerous people or a stressful situation for the sake of my sanity, but my job calls for it. More than that, the people need my intervention of peace even though it takes away my peace. Yes, sometimes what we want is not what justice, peace, and righteousness, God's agenda and will, call for. But in those times, we should recall that those on whom we would rather unleash our own will instead of God's will are our own siblings, to whom we should do as we would have them do to us. I am Michael Friday, and your week just got better. I'll see you again next week. Happy Monday all the way to Friday.